What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews. I've got 3 picks which I've already put down, which I'm going to take you through today. If that sounds interesting, let's go.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to you live from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.
Before we jump into the picks, I want to recap the last video. I did share 3 picks or 3 bets yesterday, 3 value plays. I also told you which straight bets I would take out of the 3. Firstly, looking at the value plays, Cash Bankero, it is under in points, over in assists. We get hooked on the Dame assist. That absolutely sucks because we smash his main prop over his points. And LeBron cover his points prop, but he also goes over his assist prop. My man was eaten today. If you just ran the straight picks of Bankero over his assists, Dame over his points, LeBron over his points, you would have swept on there. But I guess that gives you a taste of VIP. Speaking about VIP, didn't cash out yesterday. And part of the reason is the strategy I chose to take. I ran value plays only for the day. I didn't run any straight bets. I was looking to showcase different ways that you could use the VIP picks. I should have communicated this better. So for those in VIP, I apologize. Overall, 2.7 units down. Not the worst thing in the world. But with these VIP picks, there's 4 real ways that you can play this. You can just play all the straight bets at slow profit over time. It's a very conservative approach. You'll never run out of your bankroll if you do it that way. You'll be able to bet forever. There are value plays only, which we did yesterday. It's a profitable parlay strategy. I've got enough data that tells me that. You do have to be prepared to win 1 out of 3 bets, though. So mentally, might be a little bit more difficult. Combos and lottos only. This is the most profitable way to bet for me if you're using VIP. These hit only at a 12% hit rate. So you probably only win these types of bets once or twice a week. But in terms of the money you put down and the return that you're going to get back, that is the most profitable strategy, but you do have to be prepared to go through a couple of losing days. And then there's the 4th strategy, which is you play absolutely everything, which is what I typically do. Bet on everything and get the best of both worlds. Slow profit through your singles, value plays and combos. They have the chance of blowing your profits through the roof. You guys have seen it tons of times, time and time again. There's high volume, there's a lot of high risk, but at the same time, the reward is absolutely massive. There's no wrong way to do this. You just have to adjust your expectations to align to the strategy that you do choose to play. But despite the losing day, we had some pretty good reads. Like I said, 1 Dame assist. If we managed to cash that, we would have hit some combos, 5-unit turnaround on the day. These are all the straight bets that I was looking at. A lot of people did play them straight, but some people didn't because I didn't, and I apologize for that. Bankero hit his assists, Brook Lopez over his assists, Lopez over his 3-pointers made, Dame over his points, Sabonis over his points and assists, and LeBron over his points. Couple of losers, Rui under his PRA, he went crazy. Nikola Jokic over 26.5. It didn't happen in the blowout. 2 value plays would he cash out on. That Bankero value play, which a lot of people seem to bet on because I got a lot of messages about that. But we also hit Brook Lopez, 3+ assists at plus 320. So pretty happy with that. Quick little snapshot. Bankero under 26.5 over his assists, 75 and a 281. And Brook Lopez, 3 assists, $50 into 210. But if you're interested in checking out VIP, I do have a ton of value plays on it at the moment. I think I've got 6 that I've already put out to the guys. You can get an entry into Vivid Picks giveaway. Plus, you'll get a trial into VIP. Sign up to Vivid Picks. Use my code below. Deposit $5. Send me an email. And then I'll make it all happen for you. Once we hit 50 referrals, $100 to 3 different people. The links to that in the video description below. But if you don't happen to have access to any of the apps that I'm partnering up with, it's all good. Just send me an email. A lot of people have. And I'll get you straight in. It's as simple as that. Let's not muck around with this anymore. Let's get straight into these picks. Let's go. So jumping into Props Madness is the best tool that you're going to find if you like betting on NBA player props. The Props Madness team, they're going to go hard for this calendar year. Already started to make some changes. And I wanted to show you this change. So the one change that they've already made is on this shot chart. Previously, you used to have the player shot chart and the opposition defense. They've managed to find a way to put them both together so you can quickly determine whether someone has a good matchup through the shot chart. You've got the percentages, the volume that the player scores from that position from the floor. You've also got the defensive rating of the team that he's playing against. It's all sitting in the same spot, and it's color-coded so you could know quite quickly. Like if you look at LaMelo Ball up against the Dallas Mavericks, tough matchup. You can see that real quick. You can look at someone like a Kyrie Irving. His matchup is average, right? Nothing amazing going on there. But if you wanted to find someone with a good matchup, let me see what's an easy one. Let's look at this Hawks game. That's pretty easy to find. Look at someone like a Jalen Brunson. We can see here where it's green. He scores 29% from above the break. The Hawks dead last. So it lets you know real quick that there's an easy matchup. 22% of these points under the basket. Hawks, bottom 5 in that. So that's a new feature that they've added, and there's a long list of features that they're looking to add. But if you want to check out Props Madness, I encourage you to do so. 7-day free trial in the video description below. And if you use the code Daft when you sign up, you'll also get 25% off. Now, the first pick that I have for you guys is in this Dallas Mavericks versus Charlotte Hornets. And you got to go Mark Williams today. Mark Williams is an absolute dog. He's a beast. And a lot of people might be betting on his points. A lot of people might be betting on his rebounds. I get it. He's been killing it lately. The matchup against Dallas, somewhat difficult, I would say. But for Mark Williams, I'm just running his assists. Been quietly impressed with how he's been going. Check this out. Over 1.5 assists for Mark Williams. He's hit this in 11 out of 16 games, averaging 2.2 assists. More recently, though, no minutes restriction. Nick Richards gone, playing 30-plus minutes now. So Mark Williams, he is projected to play 33 minutes in this game. I'm going to be conservative there, and let's just look at games where he's played at least 29 minutes. Give us room just in case there's foul trouble or something. But in these games where he plays 29-plus minutes, he's over this line in every single game, averaging 2.8 assists. So the hit rate there is fantastic. I've gone into the lab. I probably watched his last 6 games, looked at every single assist that he's made, and they all pretty much come the same way. A lot of handoff actions. In the pick and roll, he kicks it out to the shooters in the corner. Plus, he'll get offensive rebounds. Sometimes he doesn't even look to go back up. He'll get the offensive rebound. He'll be falling, and he'll be looking to kick that ball out. It's easy to penetrate when a defense is closing out on you. So whoever he kicks it out to typically scores. So Mark Williams, that's how he's going to get his assists. There is a risk in this play, though. This Dallas Mavericks is going to put pressure in any pick and roll situations. They're not going to let LaMelo just take a shot out of that pick and roll. They'll put a lot of pressure. They might blitz. They might double team him. LaMelo is going to be forced to kick the ball to Mark Williams all the time as he's rolling to the rim. The Dallas Mavericks, they do very well on the weak side to come shut shit down. So whoever's defending that weak side in the corner, they're going to come straight into the lane. They're going to look to block Mark Williams off, and it's going to be up to Mark Williams to not only pass it to the corner or hit cutters on the baseline, but it's up to those guys to score. So the risk in this is that the Charlotte Hornets aren't necessarily blessed with three-point shooters. We might have to trust Jalen Green. We might have to trust what's his name, Nick Smith, a Salon perhaps, like not the most trustworthy guys, but I think Mark Williams is going to get the opportunities. If we're looking for 2 assists here, it should be easy. He could get some handoff stuff as well. So I do like Mark Williams to go over 1.5 assists. It's a very simple play, straightforward. Might be a little bit sweaty, but it also might be sweat-free, right? He can get those real quick. Let's ride it. Mark Williams over 1.5 assists. The next play that I'm taking is between Atlanta and the New York Knicks. And it's been a while since I bet on this man, but I'm looking at Jalen Johnson today, and I'm only looking at his rebounds. Jalen Johnson's somewhat consistent in hitting his points, rebounds, and his assist prop. A lot of the time, you can't go wrong with him. He's got a great hit rate on all of those props. It's insane. But today, I'm just going with the rebounds and nothing else. Now, Jalen Johnson, he's been back from injury for 1 game. Just came back against the Boston Celtics. In that game, played 38 minutes. Now, he's projected to play 34 minutes in this one, 34 to 35. And if he gets that, I think he can cover this. 9.5 rebounds is what we're looking at here. Now, the first thing I like about this, he's already played the Knicks twice this year, 15 rebounds in both games. Now, he did play almost 40 minutes in both of those games. And if we're not projecting him to play 40 minutes, I think 15 rebounds is a bit too much to expect. But in 5 less minutes, he just needs to get 10 rebounds. I like it. So I've done some work, got into the lab, looked at some film to figure out exactly why. Now, I had my assumptions around this, and then I watched the game back, and it makes a ton of sense. Firstly, Jalen Johnson, he's going to be defending OG Anunoby in this game. OG is a low usage rate player who tends to sit in the corners, plays on the weak side. That allows Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns to do whatever tango type bullshit they do at the top of the key. Either Jalen Brunson is going to take some filthy mid-ranges, tough 3-pointers, or he's going to kick it to Cat, who's going to do his type of bullshit at the top of the key. A lot of the time, he'll probably drive to the rack, got to deal with Clint Capella down there, or he's just going to sit on that 3-point line and pull it. Regardless, provided that Jalen Johnson and Karl Anthony Towns are taking a large volume of shots of this one, Jalen Johnson is going to get a ton of rebounds. OG is not going to crash the offensive rebounds. Jalen Johnson should get a lot of uncontested rebounds in this thing, just like he has been in the last 2. If you're looking for a pivot, you could look at his rebounds and assists. He has got some assists against these teams, 7+ assists in both games. The problem here is that I don't necessarily trust these Atlanta Hawks to make some points, get some buckets in this one. If their shot percentages are down, might be difficult. Jalen Johnson not necessarily getting a lot of assists to people under the basket. Like he might find a Kongwu once or twice, but for the most part, he's finding shooters in the corner, whether it's a Garrison Matthews whether it's Risa Shea. He got a lot of assists from him last time, but he's not playing in this one. So he's probably going to have to rely on a DeAndre Hunter and a Bogdanovic. And I don't know if I can trust those guys to get shots. So Jalen Johnson, I'm just running with his rebounds prop, but I wouldn't hate it if you looked at the assist side. The line is quite low, given how he's performed. He could easily walk into another 4 assists here. So for me, I'm just rolling the rebounds. A rebounds and assists is a good pivot as well. I'll leave it up to you to make that decision. But Jalen Johnson, he should eat on the glass tonight. And my last pick to share with you guys, we're heading into the Utah Jazz for the New Orleans Pelicans. And I'm taking Isaiah Collier in this one. And I'm looking at his rebounds and assists. I've been somewhat impressed with how this guy's been playing. Check it out. He's hit this in 5 out of his last 6 games. We're looking at a line of 11.5 here. Still a pretty decent odds at minus 125. I'm willing to take that. If this moves to 12.5, might be a little bit hesitant on it, but something still worth taking if it's at plus money. But 11.5, what are we looking at here for Collier? Well, firstly, he's seen a ton of minutes, right? This Utah Jazz team is either banged up or completely committed to the tank, or it's both of those things, right? Let me know what your thoughts are. Are they tanking or these guys actually injured? But you can see most of their starters are out. Markkanen, Sexton, Collins, Clarkson, all these guys are out. They only have Keontae George and Kessler, who you could say they're regulars. And now we're seeing Isaiah Collier with a ton of extra minutes. He just played the New Orleans Pelicans, and Colin Sexton played in that game. Collier still got the most minutes, 35 minutes out of anyone for Utah. His plus minus was in the positive, so I don't see why they don't play more minutes unless they're truly tanking and they play him less because he's playing too well. I doubt that happens. I think Collier sees a lot of time. Great for his development. He ate the Pelicans alive last time. 7 rebounds, 11 assists. Finished with 18 rebounds and assists in this game. I'm not asking him to do the same thing. We just need 12 of those suckers, and he's been doing it quite well. He is projected to play 32 minutes in this game. If we want to be conservative, we can just look at the games where he's played at least 30 minutes and check this stuff out. When he plays at least 30 minutes, he's hit this line in every single game against Portland, Miami, the Nets, and obviously the Pelicans, averaging 14.8 rebounds and assists. Now, we could say that Pelicans game was an outlier. If we remove it from the equation, still sitting nice and pretty in these games anyway. 15, 12, 14. Good matchup here against the Pelicans. Allow a ton of assists. They allow a ton of rebounds. The defensive rating is ass. The Pelicans and the Jazz, very similar. They suck. And it's a great game to bet on. So you can find value on both sides. And what either makes it easier for some, or maybe extremely difficult for others, is that these guys just played. I think there are some players in this game who can pretty much replicate what they did in the first game without the opposition making adjustments to shut it down. But there are some players, maybe like a CJ McCollum, where the Utah Jazz make adjustments, right? And they make life difficult for them. But we'll talk about that a little bit more in the deep dive. Don't let me distract you here. Isaiah Collier, over 11.5 rebounds and assists. The other pivot that you could take is just his assist prop alone at 7.5. He's hit this in 2 out of the 4 games where he plays 30-plus minutes. But he did just have 11 assists against the Pelicans from 16 potentials. The rebounds, that might be a little bit risky. I know he rebounded well. His line's at 3.5. He had 7 rebounds last time, but there was no Walker Kessler in that game. They had Eubanks running the center spot. You could argue that Walker Kessler's probably going to get more rebounds, so it's probably less available for Collier. But at the same time, I'm riding with the rebounds and assists. There's going to be a ton of 3-point shots taken. There could be some long rebounds anyway, and we know he's going to be out there on the floor long enough to get those suckers. So I do like Isaiah Collier, over 11.5 rebounds and assists. Pumping the brakes real quick, I wanted to ask you guys to do me a favor. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're getting closer and closer to 25,000 subscribers. Help your boy grow. And if you can, drop me a comment down below for the algorithm. It all makes a massive difference in helping this video get out to more people. Now let's get into this deep dive. So I've got a couple of leans, some players that I was very close to betting on. Some of them I probably still will. Had a pretty good hit rate on a lot of these leans that I've been sharing, so I'm not getting away from that. Let me take you through them. If you do like them, feel free to follow. If you don't, you don't have to, right? That's everything I do in this video. Do not blindly follow the bets. Really think about what I'm saying. Do you really believe that? Do you think it's going to happen? And if you do, then go ahead and take the bet. Take the risk. And when it wins, be satisfied that you made the decision to place that bet. Don't give all your credit to me, right? You're still making a decision at the end of the day, and you got to take some credit too. So enough about that. Let's get into this deep dive. Let's go. All right, so this deep dive might not be in order. I've got names scattered all over the joint, but between the Detroit Pistons and the Houston Rockets, I was actually very close to betting on Amon Thompson to go over his rebounds today. 8.5 boards. The first thing we need to look at is games without Jabari Smith Jr. And look at that. He's covered this in 5 out of 6 games without Jabari Smith Jr., 11.7 boards per game. My only hesitation, well, there's 2 hesitations. 1, he's a game time decision, calf tightness. 2, he most likely defends Cade Cunningham. And I know that even just because he's defending the best player on the other side, it doesn't necessarily mean he's not going to rebound well. But there could be foul trouble risk and stuff like that. If we look at similar types of players against the Detroit Pistons, from your Josh Harts, your Scotty Barnes, Russell Westbrook, Josh Giddey, these guys have been eating on the boards against the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons, with Jalen Duren down there, not allowing a ton of rebounds to centers, but someone like an Amon Thompson can definitely scoop up a lot of boards. So I don't mind him. I did just bet on Tari Eason, so I'd be really interested to see where his lines come out. That might be one to watch for the next game. Amon Thompson, though, I do like his boards. It's just the injury status. I think I'd be pretty upset with myself if I bet on that and then something happens because of the injury and whatever. The next one, we've got the Atlanta Hawks versus the Knicks, and I wanted to bet on Onyeka Okongwu to score some points today. Over 10.5 points. He's got a fantastic matchup to get buckets. You can see right here. The Knicks allow the 5th most points to the pick and roll man. Onyeka Okongwu's been a beast as of late. 22, 14, 19 in his last 3 games. Up against the Knicks, played them twice this year. He scored 2 points in his first matchup. He was only 1 from 6. Then in the following matchup, 12 points in 23 minutes, 6 from 10. As of late, he's been closing more games than Clint Capella to concede in his minutes, 28, 27, 32. If that's his new floor and you look at games where he plays at least 25 minutes, he's hitting this in 10 out of 12 games. He's been an absolute beast. I don't know if Clint Capella's getting old or if Clint Capella could potentially be traded. I don't know what's happening there, but Onyeka Okongwu definitely starting to see more minutes. And Jalen Johnson came back and Okongwu still managed to see more minutes. So could he continue to see this type of minutes? Because if he does, he's going to smash those points. The rebounds, that could be another look too. He's been rebounding like an animal in his last 3 games. 21, 13, and 13 boards. Tough matchup here against the Knicks. I get that. In the 2 games that he's rebounding against the Knicks, he had 1 game with 4, but another one with 11. So Onyeka Okongwu could be a sneaky value play there. But yeah, if he's going to get the minutes, I do like Onyeka's over. I think that's one to really consider. I might bet on that. We'll see how we go. My hesitation on the boards there is I'm already going to be betting on Jalen Johnson. Do I want to bet them both? Well, you probably could because he had 11 rebounds in this game. Jalen Johnson had 15 in the same game as well. So Onyeka Okongwu, I think that could be a sneaky look. In the Utah Jazz, let's move to that game. Jazz versus the Pelicans. Trey Murphy, 22.5 points. I don't mind this. Now, he just played against the Utah Jazz. He finished with 19 points. In that game, his line was 19.5 when it opened. And I know that, I know that it was 19.5 because I bet on 19.5. The line closed at 21.5. You can see it here. He still only finishes on 19, but for this particular game, the line's now up to 22.5. Now, that could be an indication the books saying Zion might not play, or the books could be saying that Trey Murphy could bounce back here. Now, in my recap against this, in this game for the Utah Jazz, I called out here that Trey Murphy was extremely efficient. He managed to score 19 points on only 11 shots. He played 36 minutes. Now, if you look at games where Trey Murphy plays at least 36 minutes, check this out. Even if we look at 35, we can see he's covered this line in 10 out of 17 games, but I doubt you're going to find any other game outside of that Utah game where he took less than 11. And that's right. So in all these games, we're seeing massive volume. Let me just change this graph to field goals attempted. So this blue line represents how many shots he's taken in a game. There was 1 game against the Clippers where he took 10 shots. That last game against the Jazz where he took 11. And another game against Atlanta where he took 12. Outside of that, his shot volume is at about 20. So Trey Murphy could see more volume in this game. He was extremely efficient. CJ McCollum, Alvarado, Jordan Hawkins, they were burying this Utah Jazz team from deep. If the Jazz make some adjustments, it could really free up Trey Murphy and he could start getting some buckets. So Trey Murphy, that could be a sneaky bounce back spot for him to get some points. We could also look at Zion if Zion plays. So Zion's got an illness, is a game time decision. I promised everyone I wouldn't call him a thick boy in this, and I was just about to, so I just bit my tongue. But I reckon a popular play you'll probably see for Zion is rebounds plus assists. This was at 10.5 in the last game. It closed at 11.5. Now it's opening at 12.5 because Zion had 14 rebounds and 6 assists in that last game. If he does play, he's going to get some work on the boards. He'll be able to get some dimes, so they try to limit his effectiveness. I do like the rebounds and assists here for Zion. I don't like the fact that he's got an illness. So I don't know if he plays in this game. We'll see what happens. And in the Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Grizzlies. Now, I was close to betting on my man Mike Conley today, believe it or not. I was looking at over 9.5 points. And part of the reason was Dante DiVincenzo is out. So Dante being out, Mike Conley starts to get a little bit more minutes. Dante's been out for 2 games. He got 25 and 23 minutes, decent volume, 9 and 7 shots, 5 and 6 3-point attempts. And he's up against the Memphis Grizzlies today, who give up a ton of points above the break. You can see it here. Conley scoring 52% of his points above the break. The Grizzlies allowing the 7th most. They're also pretty average against a spot up. He'll be able to score in the pick and roll, transition, yada, yada, yada. Now, the one thing I like about this play for Mike Conley, Julius Randle, obviously not that aggressive trying to score anymore, but he's playing this point forward role quite a bit, getting the ball a lot. He's happy to distribute, and he's up against this Grizzlies team who have Zach Edey, who's getting more and more minutes. They also have Jaren Jackson Jr. Julius Randle being a bit of a bitch. Your boy doesn't want to go inside, and if he does go inside, a lot of the time he's kicking it out, which is why in that last game when these teams played, Anthony Edwards got shut down because Jalen Wells was denying the ball. They double-teamed him. But Julius Randle, you'd think, would be the second guy to step up. And he didn't, like, he played okay, but he didn't see a massive lift in his shot volume. It was actually Naz Reid, Dante DiVincenzo, Jaden McDaniels. They absolutely let it rain against the Memphis Grizzlies with a whole lot of spot-up shooting. Now, I think that can happen again. I just don't know if it's the same players. So Dante DiVincenzo is out. Mike Conley is in. Does Mike Conley see a lot more wide open opportunities because Dante's not there? I think so, but it could be a Nickeil Alexander-Walker game as well. He was 1 from 7 in that last game against the Memphis Grizzlies. Let me show you that one. He scored 8 points, 3 from 10, but 1 from 7 from deep. He could have a bounce-back game. Jaden McDaniels, I think he set a season high in this game, 21 points against Memphis, 3 from 4 from deep, 9 from 12. He smoked them in transition. Does he have a good game as well? But then you got to factor in Naz Reid off the bench. His lines aren't even available yet. So before I bet on Mike Conley, I thought, yeah, it makes sense. But there are so many options. Can I really choose Mike Conley? Then I thought about the pivot. Do I just bet on Julius Randle to go over his assist prop? He had 8 assists last time against Memphis. His line's at 5.5. He just had 9 assists against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Like, do we just roll with Julius and his assists? I think so. I think that might be the better bet. But I hate Julius Randle right now. This man broke my heart when he played against the Knicks. Made me look like an idiot in front of 15,000 people that watch my videos. So I don't know if I could take the bet on Julius Randle, but if I had to, I'd be looking at his assists. I honestly don't mind that. But outside of that, no massive leans that I considered. This Celtics-Warriors game, I didn't even look too hard into it. For me, it looks like it stinks. This Boston Celtics team's hard to really bet on. I'd be thinking Kristaps Porzingis. He's the most consistent guy that they have. Line's at 17.5. He's hit this at 13 out of 18. His matchup is not bad, but honestly, with Kristaps, the matchup doesn't even matter. He does the same shit anyway. He just gets buckets. He's been rebounding okay. Recently, he's come down. He's got a good matchup to get boards against the Warriors. Hasn't played the Warriors this season. Last season, didn't play them either. So we haven't seen much Kristaps versus the Warriors as of late in the last 2 years. That would be my hesitation. But if you're just looking at form and how things are going, then you've got to look at Kristaps's points. I wonder what he's projected to play. Let me just check his projected minutes real quick. All right, so he's projected to play 33 minutes in this game. If you want to be conservative, let's look at games where he plays at least 30. See what we get. If Kristaps plays at least 30 minutes, he's over this line in 8 out of 9 games, averaging 20 points per game. So, yeah, I think Kristaps to go over his points prop, it's not a bad look. I honestly don't hate that. His boards, that's a little bit up and down, so that doesn't look too great. Assist-wise, you could muck around with that. His threes, perhaps, that's not too bad either. But I really just think Kristaps, just look at his points. Over 17.5 points for Kristaps. I don't hate that. It seems like a very safe play, to be honest. Not safe in terms of like it's going to hit, but like it's such a simple play. Like it's so simple. His hit rate is awesome in it. The matchup, not the hardest one he's going to see. I don't see how it doesn't happen. He's been doing it all year. Like he's been as consistent as they come for this Celtics team. I'd prefer to avoid it. I'd like to have more reasons to bet on it than just that. But you know, if you bet on Kristaps Porzingis to score some points, I wouldn't hate that. Congratulations to you because you're most likely win it, I think. But that's a wrap on today's video, gang. I do hope you found some value in that. Let me know in the comment section. Should I keep doing the lean stuff? Does anybody even bet them? Does it help you? Just please, just let me know. I'm completely open for feedback here. If you have liked the video, thank you. Drop me a comment down below. I wish you guys the best of luck. Let's green out. Let's go.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to your line from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice and the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.